All right, so we're swapping out the two-door hard top for a soft top. This is the best top, slanted soft top that we're gonna put on here. We've already removed the hard top. We've already made a video showing you how to do that, so no reason to show you that again. Check out the video if you're curious how best to take the hard top off. There's a couple different ways to do it. So check that video out so you know how to do that. But right now we're gonna put this soft top on. Starting with the mundane stuff, there's a little sealer right here. You gotta wipe down the surface. Use this little template. We'll start right here, putting this little template down, stick it to it, and then we'll move on to the next phase. This is actually my least favorite part of doing anything, is the little sticky stuff. I hate sticky stuff. So if this is the worst of it, which probably will be the worst of it, at least you get to do it first. All right, so now we're putting the seals on the back. There's a seal up front that lines around these bolts. Do it on both sides. Now there's a piece that lays on the back side of it. So basically you're covering all this flat surface so you don't scratch your Bronco when you put the top on. That's essentially what this is doing, is keeping it from scratching. But this actually overlays, this little piece right here overlays that piece. So there is a little bit of overlap between these two pieces. Weather stripping. This goes down right through here. All right, round two for the other side. Peel this off. All right, so we're gonna take our T30 Torx bit and remove these screws here. And then we put on this retention piece. This goes the other side. Put on this retention piece right here. For some reason, I want you to stick this little foam block right in here. Now you would think that would just come that way, but I guess it doesn't. And I'm not sure why you need that little foam block in there, but I'm curious if I didn't do that, what would happen? I'm not gonna try it because it's far too expensive to screw up, but you know, I'm just oddly curious why you gotta stick a little piece of foam in there. Oh, it's this piece. This is the piece they want out of it. It's always worrisome, pull back pieces of trim. You're not quite sure how they're attached on the other side. So always be very, very careful. So this is where the Bronco is pretty cool. So when you remove this trim piece right here, it gives you access. There's a thread point right here. Now there was nothing in that thread point. That was simply pre-drilled for the ability to add this piece on there. So they engineered this vehicle ahead of time to be able to add all these modular concepts. So that's actually, I mean, this isn't exactly the easiest process in the world, but it ain't the hardest either. So right now we're gonna put these screws in. We're going from the T30 that we had earlier to a T50. This is a bigger piece. And you're gonna put the screw bolts that when you remove the hard top, back in those holes. All right, so you got, I thought we didn't have enough, but there's two little pieces here, so. We're gonna use two screws that were removed during the removal of the hard top, and then one screw that came with it. There's pre-drilled holes here, and there's actually a rise in this, and it's meant for this to mount right to. So if you have these pre-drilled holes that you would never use unless you had one of these tops. But once again, they're setting it up for modularity, so you can have whatever top you want. All right, so now let's construct this top together and get this thing on there. So because sometimes you need a little help from your friends. I could not figure out where this piece of foam goes. Of course, this was folded over and pointed towards the ground, so I didn't see it, but that is where that little piece of foam goes. All right, let's do the inside. This should just kind of be held into place because of tension on the other side, so shouldn't be bad. So if you look, take a look here. So you look at these directions and you think, okay, grab this and put this there and it goes there. That can be a bit confusing. So I always say, let's grab the piece, try to make it look like the picture, so you find your little grooves and find this here. So okay, I think I pretty much got that. So now I can figure out how to do it. All right, so the little cable that you need to find is nestled in here. There's a little ledge here, and then it's tucked right here. This is the end that you need to use, and believe it or not, it's way down in there. So I'm gonna tuck some of this back up in there because that's way too much slack, and hopefully it'll stay nestled in there. So let's go ahead and attach this piece. But this goes way down there. That's why you have all that slack. That's why I like to line it up on your screws before this is taking Loctite, and I damn sure don't want to put that on there and fix it and realize I'm wrong. So I want to line the screws up first, because you would think it would attach on this end, but actually it's going way down here. So what I've discovered is that they do not want you to pull it out on this end, on the, right near this door, because it was only about that far in. So trying to find it on this side, I couldn't reach in there and find it, found it here. But actually, I've got to fish this all the way back through and get it to this side. So let's see if we can fish this all the way through there and get it out the other side. Feel that thing? I'm gonna open this up and attach it to it. I'll pull it through. Got it. Right here. So that barely comes out. Look at that. Without one of these, that would be awfully difficult. Maybe try a coat hanger or something like that. But like I said, it starts about right here. And I don't know how your arm's long enough to get through there and grab that, because I can't. It's not that big, so I can't get my arm that deep in there. So I don't know, man. So that little guy right there goes on each side, but you put a little Loctite on there and it's in there. So let's make sure we get it right. All right, so we got the whole thing assembled, and it's too tight in the front. The front brackets, when you latch it down, you can't get them off because it's pulled too far back. So what we're doing is we're loosening every bracket up top here and trying to push everything forward. So we'll see how that works. See if you can see this. So there's a bracket right here. Now this is a factory bracket, and it's, you know, secured in here by these, and that's the way it comes. The only adjustment you do is you take this bolt out when you put this bracket on here. But the way it is there was way too much tension on this thing trying to seat in here, and we couldn't unlatch it without getting behind it and taking trim pieces off and wedging it out. It was way too much trouble. We loosened up all these mounting brackets and tried to shift it forward. Still to no avail, really didn't make any difference. So finally what we decided to do was take this latching bracket here, loosen it up, and pull it that way to release the tension. And that's what we did. So what I recommend doing is before you start mounting these things, is loosen up these brackets from the factory, push those that way to release that tension. The brackets here, anytime you're mounting any of these mounting brackets for the top here, make sure those are pushed forward. There's not a lot of play, but whatever play there is, make sure they're pushed forward as much as you can to release that tension, or else you're really never going to get that thing off there because it's way too tight. The tolerance here is next to nothing. But all right, so what did we learn? We learned a lot. First of all, this thing's a bitch. It ain't easy to do. That's just, there's no way around it. This is not easy to do. The instructions say 2 hours for one person. That's a joke. We started this at 3 o'clock yesterday, worked till a little after 5, started this morning, and put another 5 hours in. So that's 8 hours, but there's been 3 to 4 people touching this thing over the course of that. So 2 hours with one person is a joke. Just like anything, when they give you instructions, it's probably not accurate because they're professionals that do it all the time, that designed it. They can do it in 2 hours. That doesn't mean you can. So what did we learn? Well, there's no tolerance in this thing. It's super tight, and it, you know, that gives it a good look. Like this window's very, very firm. It's tight in there. This is very, very tight over here. Nothing's loose. Nothing looks sloppy. It's extremely, I mean, attractive looking in my opinion. But with that comes no tolerance for error. There isn't a lot of places you can adjust things to make it fit. I told you earlier that we had to move this bracket. In the instructions, they did not tell you to do that. They did not tell you to move this bracket. We figured that out on our own to push that back so you could get that to latch and actually get it to unlatch. So it's a learning experience. As far as looks, I mean, I think it's a great looking top. As far as usability, we're gonna find out. We're gonna run through car wash, we're gonna drive and see how it works. But as far as installation, I give it a 3 because this thing is not easy to do, so know what you're getting into. If you're not willing to tinker with it and have a friend help you, then I would not attempt getting this or trying to install this. And this is a dealership where we have people that do these sort of things every day. They do much more complicated, complex repair. And it goes to show you when you're trying to make things fit that you've never tried to make fit before, there's always little adjustments that may need to be made. So learning experience, would I recommend it? I'm gonna go with no.